Hey, Pegah, how's it going today?
Hello, good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Great, thank you. Nice having you. So today we're just going to be asking you some questions that are going to go on your counseling profile at the Know If You're Counseling website on the team page. It's really there just for clients to get to know you a little bit and to know kind of what to expect when working with you as their therapist. To get a little bit more color than just reading your profile and seeing your photo, to add a little bit more color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So the
Yeah.
first question, tell me just kind of some of the information about yourself, such as like, the general things like who are you, what's your name, what's your position, what school you went to, how long you've been at No Fear Counseling, that kind of thing, whatever you think is important.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to get in touch with my my client.
Mhm.
Yeah, I went to Adler University for my master in counseling in psychology, and I graduated in 2020. And but 1 year before, I got training in family system. And so I was working since 2019. And yeah, I started my work in no fear counseling in 2020. Basically, first agency right after my graduation was no fear counseling, and I'm so grateful for the environment and the culture that you are creating in this agency. And right now, I have an office in West Vancouver, and I'm open to um, receive some, like people who are looking for this service from North Shore, everywhere in North Shore. Yeah.
Yeah. What an interesting time to graduate right before the pandemic, hey?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's around that time,
Yeah.
2020. Yeah.
So tell me, what was the inspiration behind choosing counseling as a career? What was it a life experience that led you here, or is it something that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah. Exactly. Like I was before I come to Canada. Basically, I'm an immigrant. I arrived in 2011, and before I used to be an engineer. I had my master in industrial engineering, and I was working in that field and interacting with people in different levels of business. And I always found human being and that relational field was so um, um, fascinating, And so and also, even though I was engineer, but I have always had kind of this drive and passion for human mind and behavior. So I used to take so many courses and participate in so many workshops in Iran, uh, all related to psychology and human mind, and in line with this. Um, so when I came to Canada, that was um, somehow bittersweet, because in one way I was letting go of my old, basically, personality, persona as an engineer, and also on the other hand, it was very in kind of exciting that I could reinvent, kind of create something that is so um, kind of my meaning, as if it's my purpose, something that I think that it speaks to my soul, you know. And so
Yeah.
I found, and gradually somehow my path unfolded, and I found myself in this program, and so this is really meaningful to me. This is somehow I feel that it's my calling, and I really get energized when I'm in the room. And with individuals and working together. Yeah, that's in nutshell.
Mm. Yeah, so it became an opportunity to reset and to do what you've always been sort of meant to be on
Mm.
this planet for. I can imagine like a shell, like a crab shell or a lobster shell, like shedding their outer layer.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good analogy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I didn't know that about you, so that's good to know. Maybe you told me, but I didn't
Yeah.
remember until you mentioned it. So now just for your clients, for your prospective clients, what is counseling to you, and who do you think could benefit from it?
Um, I mean, it's counseling is like the way that I see it somehow is like a teamwork, as if I always tell my clients when the first day that they come that this work is like it's very collaborative, it's like a teamwork. We define a project and we both of us work towards this project closely and I'm, of course, I have some knowledge because I got educated in this field. I have experience and I have my own life experience as a human being, as a person. And but you are source of knowledge and information. Without your information, I'm basically useless here. So I see it like that. It's not like I'm here, counselor, and there is a wall between us. There is nothing. It's just first for me is two human, two soul are interacting and um, finding their path through this journey together. This is the way that I see it, more like human base.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
relationship. Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
kind of like, yeah, that's the way that I see. So in some point I see like all of us, um, we may get lost. Things happen, life is happening and can I I love this kind of metaphor of ocean. We are sailing, everything is nice, we are sun on our face, we are kind of resting in this energy, and all of a sudden a storm, comes up and you want to navigate your way through this storm. Like if we don't have tools and we don't have enough like strength, body strength and muscles, we may get pushed um, into the ocean and try to survive and drowning and coming up and but if we actually take that like proactive approach to life and we also think about maybe on the way sailing, then something come up and we have to be prepared with that for that. We may start like um, kind of collecting some tools and working on our strength. And this is basically that the role of counseling. Yeah, that you are building up some resiliency, some strength and power for something that is inevitable. Like life is bringing things that
Mm.
you can't anticipate. Like COVID was one of them, and I'm sure that in each person's personal life there are so many like there's so many incidents can happen. So this is basically how I see that. And if we, in that time when you are pushed into the ocean and you are trying to survive and um, kind of save yourself somehow, um, if to me it's like when you come to counseling, as if you have say a surfboard that is there, and you can they grab to this surfboard and try to actually bring yourself pull yourself out of the ocean and put yourself on the safe board and start like basically surfing and this stormy weather, this stormy
Yeah.
ocean. And if you don't have that strength, body strength, and you don't have that tool, it's like more likely you will get drawn and you kind of go downward
Yeah.
spiral and
Yeah. That was a good, some good engineering answers there. I
Yeah,
saw some of your background coming up, but yeah, either you're strengthening your ship, right, in that
yeah,
analogy to make you more ready for the storm,
yeah,
or you're already drowning on your
yeah,
surfboard and you
yeah,
need help coming up to
yeah,
kind of get back on the boat and then strengthen the boat. So kind of
yeah.
it works proactively or sort of in crisis as well, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And what are some of the most common reasons that people specifically for you come and seek you? What have been like the clients or the area of focus that you sort of enjoy working with the most, or that just tend to find you that seem to work really well with you?
Okay. The area, I work with individuals, families, and also couples. And usually, I have s- some training in trauma oriented modalities. I use I'm in the path to get certified in Hakomi, and so is somatic therapy, type of somatic therapy, and also um, EMDR. So these are all kind of trauma-oriented modalities. And but for couples, I love working with couples. It's something that I am I get so much like satisfaction out of this. And yeah, and I got training in EFT and also other modalities like Gottman and RLT, which is also a very nice modality.
What
We
does
have
RLT stand for?
relational life therapy.
Okay.
And yeah, these are some tools that I use working with, but in something that I realized in working with couples is couples therapy is like individual therapy in in the context of couples, because each person they bring their own past and their own basically brain psyche into their relationship. And to me, it's like they are not separatable, individual and couples. So yeah, this is how I see, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So that answers the question of how what are some of the tools and modalities that you work from? What are some of the type of issues that you enjoy working with the most, like the presenting issues?
Mhm. Um, so many the scope of basically is very broad. People come with most of the time come with anxiety and depression, and they are looking for a tool for some tools to manage it, but we always end up working in with some sort of unresolved issues or trauma that they are still um, kind of somehow hidden in their psyche. And somehow my approach is very much a strength based and trauma oriented approach. And I use mindfulness, I use body a lot actually. And because our body is basically holding all of our history, not just our history, or also our intergenerational, our ancestors, trauma. And so we are carrying in our body. So it's like, but if to answer your question, it can be anxiety, depression, like end of life, let's say a stage of life, let's say a stage of life issues or men issues, women issues. It can be like I'm trying like some sort of let's say obsessive behaviors or compulsions, Um, what else? And
So it sounds like you
it
you
can be
essentially you
yes,
essentially work with everything, but at the end of the day, whatever they're presenting with, you're looking for the underlying blocks and traumas that you're
absolutely.
trying to process. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
always is. And for couples is it can be like mm, just they don't feel connected. Um, they or maybe and also infidelity is something that I work with so many couples they come with this issue. of infidelity. And sometimes, my approach is solution focused approach because they come with one issue and they want to work on that. And sometimes they come with just a more general issue that, we are kind of falling apart and we want to bring back that energy, excitement, that spark.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So clients often will ask, sometimes they're nervous, and so a common question on the phones are like, what can I expect in a typical first session? Do I need to prepare at all? That kind of thing.
Um, First session is more about kind of building some rapport, like orienting clients to their journey and my energy, the environment, the space that they are going to basically come back every week or, you know, every other week, and it's more like intake, I would say, and sometimes depends. Um, it's not really carved in a stone. It's more about to me for me, my style is like I want clients to start with respecting their own boundary. I always tell them that I ask question, but you don't have to answer because I want you to respect your own boundary. It's the first session. I'm a stranger, and it took so much courage to sit with a stranger and wants to share and open up. So you just stay in touch with yourself. And if I ask question, it doesn't seem right, um, timing is not right. You can say I'm not ready, and we can go to the area that you feel more comfortable to talk about. And sometimes, depends on the client. Sometimes maybe first session even we start um, are into start a little like going into the process, and but all depends on the level of readiness of clients. Yeah,
Good. Yeah. So like before you're saying about teamwork, it all depends on what they're bringing to the table and what they're
exactly.
comfortable doing. And your job is to make them in the first session feel as comfortable with you as possible and to
Absolutely.
orient them to your space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another question that comes up a lot is like, what does progress look like? And like, how is that sort of gauged or assessed?
Mhm.
How do I know I'm getting better? So,
Yeah, like it's always again is so kind of like as if we define a project, and we both of us, let's say after 4 or 5 sessions, we make basically reflecting on the outcome. And mm, however, every session, new session, as when clients come back again to counseling, the second session, third session. At the beginning, we always reflect on our last session, like for like short time, like 5 minutes. Okay, what stood out for you last session? Did you have in last week? Did you had any kind of reflection, any realization, or something that you could um, take with you, and you saw that you are kind of integrating, or it's things how things are changing for you, even subtle or not changing for you, is relapsing, or what kind of we kind of assess that piece. And also the same way, because it's very collaborative, I want my clients to actually see if the path that we have started, is the right path for them. If there is anything they want more or less, or just some sort of yeah um, evaluation we have. And but usually it happens, let's say after a month, they have some assessment again the second month, and if they feel
mhm.
progress, we kind of we increase basically um, the timing of next session,
Let's see. Yeah.
like make it from 1 week to every other week, and
Mhm.
sometimes gradually
Mhm.
maybe once a month,
Right.
you know, that's the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. to fire yourself as a therapist. That's the goal, right? Yeah.
Yes.
What is your view about change and how do you think healing occurs in therapy?
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, the way that I see is like, um, because this is a question that people ask very frequently. Change is about, first of all, it's very much, it's not something that I can, because it's very subjective for each human being. Um, but something that I explain to them is we can't, therapy is not for kind of you assuming or expecting that all the memories are kind of basically wiped out and gone. It's not like that. It's basically you have your old wires, neurological pathways are there because you had a life, and your brain in each life event and experience um, fire and wire, and you have these pathways. But the therapy is like you basically understanding of your brain blueprint. You are learning about these pathways and all of these triggers and things that the shape who you are and your brain. Yeah. So to me, change is when you actually create new pathways. But and these new pathways they become dominant. Yeah. No, basically, as you are new patterns of basically being who you are, because these are old patterns. They are not apparently working towards the goal that you have, the vision that you have for your life. So that's why you come and you're seeking out help and support. So that's expectation is we want to create a new patterns or way of being that actually is in line with your vision, where you think that you deserve to be. So this is basically to me it changes like that and new pathways. We have old pathways, but these old pathways they are not active anymore. These are active pathways, and the old pathways gradually they go through pruning. But in a way, you have your memory, but if your feeling is different, if your feeling mm, towards those memories are very
Hmm.
different.
Yeah, I love that answer. It's like evolution and iteration. It's not
Yeah,
resetting or anything like that. You're
yeah,
just continuing. It's like working with your body. If you go to the gym, if you're
exactly.
out of shape, you're out of shape. You can't, you have to start with where you're at,
Yes,
and sort of strengthen or condition or whatever you're trying to do.
yes,
Yeah. Um, And just so clients know a little bit about you outside of what you do in the therapy room, that's, sometimes to help them feel comfortable. If you're comfortable answering, if not, we can always cut it out. Um,
mm,
Either like, what are your hobbies outside when you're not doing therapy all day long, or just something about yourself that you are comfortable with clients knowing in advance about you that's outside of the therapy room.
yeah. I love yoga for sure. It's my temple. I always say that it's my temple. Every day I have to go to my temple and find my divine self and connect to cosmos, like universe and um, practice like gratitude, and that's definitely is non-negotiable for me. Every day I have to go to my yoga class, and I also do a sculpture, which also I love this like playing and touching this clay and but letting my unconscious basically run the show and it's a way of expression of something that I can express through words. It's my soul basically work.
Yeah.
It's not my mind and
Yeah, but probably good for your healthy neural pathways to expand as
absolutely.
well, right? Yeah,
Yes, it's
yeah.
so fascinating what comes up and yeah, creativity. Being creative is super important to me. And being in nature, is also something that is very important to me. And yeah, basically these are main things that they are, yeah, very important in my life.
Yeah.
And
Well, I was gonna say your background is beautiful. I was gonna say in the beginning. I thought it was AI first, but then I could see the
no,
trees are moving.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
lucky this is my balcony. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, on that note, Pega, thank you so much for your
you're
time. I'm
welcome.
sure
Thank
clients
you.
that are thinking about working with you, this will give them a much more three-dimensional view and it will help them, decide on working with you. I did have one question that I didn't ask that is a very common one, but we'll see if it makes sense here or not. We can always cut it out. Is what do you think when we've got clients? Sometimes they're very undecided, indecisive about picking their counselor. They might go through 5+ phone consultations, and then after weeks, still don't know who to go with, right? Um, what would you tell them is like internally within them, something to look for that would make someone like a counselor a good fit for them? What are some, cues that they could look at that will
Mhm.
help, know that, hey, this is the right person for me to try?
Yeah, it's a hard question. First of all, I think it's important to understand that they are more like cognitive, or they are in touch with their emotion, or they are comfortable with their body. It's very important that because some people, maybe they are not like body oriented. It's hard for them to focus on their body, and they are more cognitive. Or those people, they need to look for maybe practitioner who are their main modality is CBT, more like cognitive based modality. But so that's one way that they can filter those practitioners. But something that I'm looking for a counselor for myself, and I would, or healer, I would trust my body, honestly. When I sit with that person, because I really believe in that human is not a robot, an object. We have soul, we have energies are actually moving and exchange. So
Yeah,
the way that, I feel that in that bubble that we create in that even virtual space, two of us, we create some energetic bubble. So how I feel, how my body feels, am I comfortable? Am I like feel relaxed and kind of grounded somehow? You know,
yeah.
this is how it's not like, I don't know, maybe a good answer, but this is how I trust. I
No,
trust.
I love that answer, and you're setting up your next however many sessions and time and hours with this person. So you want to make sure that this is a space that you feel like you can do kind of more difficult work than maybe just simple, storytelling or narrative and that kind of thing.
Mm.
But yeah, I also love that you shared about your own experience of going to counseling and sort of, how hard it was to trust in the
Yes,
beginning. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and that you gave your own view on what you would be looking for in a counselor now that you've gone through the process before.
Yeah, yeah.
But that also speaks to, AI probably not taking our job anytime soon.
Oh no,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
impossible to me,
mhm,
honestly,
yeah,
because that human, that energy, like you look at the other person's eyes.
mhm,
The
mhm,
eye have source
mhm,
of emotion. And
absolutely.
source of information.
Yeah,
And how can you just one dimension is very one dimensional. Here we have
yeah,
like so many
mhm,
dimension are
yeah,
engaged in this
yeah,
interaction. To me, it's
yeah.
like I don't see that.
Yeah. And then at the same time, as you're saying, sometimes people are only ready for maybe one dimension to dip
Yeah,
their toe in at
yeah,
first.
yes,
And then maybe over time they can expand that. So if
yes,
that is the dimension they want to go with, then having someone that can work with CBT or like a more cognitive based, strength based, solution based, whatever the modality is, might be a good starting point for them.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time,
thank
Pega.
you. Thank
And
you so much for your
my
time.
pleasure. My pleasure.
And yeah, yeah, I really, yeah, I want to thank you, for this opportunity. And Yeah, I'm very grateful.
Take care. Pegah.
Thank you. Bye.